Section 22 of New Arabian Nights by Robert Louis Stevenson. This Librivox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Don W. Jenkins. Providence and the Guitar, Chapter 3. Not a single chink of light upon the street, and the carriage gate was closed.
"This is unprecedented," observed Léon. "An inn closed by 5 minutes after 11, and there were several commercial travellers in the café up to a late hour. Elvira, my heart misgives me. Let us ring the bell."
The bell had a potent note, and being swung under the arch, it filled the house from top to bottom with surly clanging reverberations. The sound accentuated the conventual appearance of the building. A wintry sentiment, a thought of prayer and mortification, took hold upon Elvira's mind, and, as for Léon, he seemed to be reading the stage directions for a lugubrious fifth act.
"This is your fault," said Elvira. "This is what comes of fancying things."
Again Léon pulled the bell rope. Again the solemn tocsin awoke the echoes of the inn. And ere they had died away, a light glimmered in the carriage entrance, and a powerful voice was heard upraised and tremulous with wrath. "What's all this?" cried the tragic host through the spars of the gate. "Hard upon 12, and you come clamouring like Prussians at the door of a respectable hotel? Oh!" he cried, "I know you now. Common singers. People in trouble with the police. And you present yourselves at midnight like lords and ladies? Be off with you!"
"You will permit me to remind you," replied Léon, in thrilling tones, "that I am a guest in your house, that I am properly inscribed, and that I have deposited baggage to the value of 400 francs.
"You cannot get in at this hour," returned the man. "This is no thieves' tavern for Mohawks and night rakes and organ grinders."
"Brute!"
cried Elvira, for the organ grinders touched her home.
"Then I demand my baggage," said Léon, with unabated dignity.
"I know nothing of your baggage," replied the landlord.
"You detain my baggage? You dare to detain my baggage?" cried the singer.
"Who are you?" returned the landlord. "It is dark. I cannot recognize you."
"Very well, then. You detain my baggage," concluded Léon. "You shall smart for this. I shall weary out your life with persecutions. I will drag you from court to court. If there is justice to be had in France, it shall be rendered between you and me. And I will make you a byword. I will put you in a song, a scurrilous song, an indecent song, a popular song, which the boys shall sing to you in the street, and come and howl through these spars at midnight."
He had gone on raising his voice at every phrase, for all the while the landlord was very placidly retiring; and now, when the last glimmer of light had vanished from the arch, and the last footstep died away in the interior, Léon turned to his wife with a heroic countenance.
"Elvira," said he, "I have now a duty in life. I shall destroy that man as Eugène Sue destroyed the concierge. Let us come at once to the gendarmerie and begin our vengeance." He picked up the guitar case, which had been propped against the wall, and they set forth through the silent and ill-lighted town with burning hearts. The gendarmerie was concealed beside the telegraph office at the bottom of a vast court, which was partly laid out in gardens; and here all the shepherds of the public lay locked in grateful sleep. It took a deal of knocking to waken one, and he, when he came at last to the door, could find no other remark but that it was none of his business. Léon reasoned with him, threatened him, besought him. "Here," he said, "was Madame Berthelini in evening dress, a delicate woman, in an interesting condition." The last was thrown in, I fancy, for effect, and to all this the man of arms made the same answer.
"It's none of my business," said he.
"Very well," said Léon. "Then we shall go to the commissary."
Thither they went. The office was closed and dark, but the house was close by, and Léon was soon swinging the bell like a madman. The commissary's wife appeared at a window. She was a thread-paper creature, and informed them that the commissary had not yet come home.
"Is he at the mayor's?" continued Léon.
She thought that was not unlikely.
"Where is the mayor's house?" he asked; and she gave him some rather vague information on that point. "Stay you here, Elvira," said Léon, "lest I should miss him by the way. If, when I return, I find you here no longer, I shall follow at once to the Blackhead." And he set out to find the mayor's. It took him some 10 minutes wandering among blind lanes, and when he arrived it was already half an hour past midnight.
A long white garden wall overhung by some thick chestnuts, a door with a letter box, and an iron bell pull. That was all that could be seen of the mayor's domicile. Léon took the bell pull in both hands and danced furiously upon the sidewalk. The bell itself was just upon the other side of the wall. It responded to his activity and scattered an alarming clangor far and wide into the night. A window was thrown open in a house across the street, and a voice inquired the cause of this untimely uproar.
"I wish the mayor," said Léon.
"He has been in bed this hour," returned the voice.
"He must get up again," retorted Léon, and he was for tackling the bell pull once more.
"You will never make him hear," responded the voice. "The garden is of great extent. The house is at the farther end, and both the mayor and his housekeeper are deaf."
"Aha!" said Léon, pausing. "The mayor is deaf, is he? That explains." And he thought of the evening's concert with a momentary feeling of relief. "Ah!" he concluded. "And so the mayor is deaf, and the garden vast, and the house at the far end?"
"And you might ring all night," added the voice, "and be none the better for it. You would only keep me awake."
"Thank you, neighbour," replied the singer. "You shall sleep." And he made off again at his best pace for the commissary's. Elvira was still walking to and fro before the door. "Has he not come?" said Léon.
Not he,
she replied. "Good," returned Léon. "I am sure our man's inside. Let me see the guitar case. I shall lay this siege in form, Elvira. I am angry, I am indignant, I am truculently inclined, but I thank my Maker I still have a sense of fun. The unjust judge shall be importuned in a serenade, Elvira. Set him up, and set him up." He had the case opened by this time, struck a few chords, and fell into an attitude which was irresistibly Spanish. "Now," he continued, "feel your voice. Are you ready? Follow me." The guitar twanged, and the two voices upraised in harmony and with a startling loudness the chorus of a song of old Béranger's. "Commissaire, commissaire, Colin Bassat ménagère." The stones of Castel le Gâchis thrilled at this audacious innovation. Hitherto had the night been sacred to repose and nightcaps, and now what was this? Window after window was opened, matches scratched, and candles began to flicker, swollen sleepy faces peered forth into the night. There were the two figures before the commissary's house, each bolt upright, with head thrown back and eyes interrogating the starry heavens. The guitar wailed, shouted, and reverberated like half an orchestra, and the voices, with a crisp and spirited delivery, hurled the appropriate burden at the commissary's window. All the echoes repeated the functionary's name. It was more like an entr'acte in a farce of Molière's than a passage of real life in Castel le Gâchis. The commissary, if he was not the first, was not the last of the neighbours to yield to the influence of music, and furiously throw open the window of his bedroom. He leaned far over the window sill, raying and gesticulating, and the tassel of his white nightcap danced like a thing of life. He opened his mouth to dimensions hitherto unprecedented, and yet his voice, instead of escaping from it in a roar, came forth shrill and choked and tottering. A little more serenading, and it was clear he would be better acquainted with the apoplexy. I scorn to reproduce his language. He touched upon too many serious topics by the way for a quiet storyteller. Although he was known for a man who was prompt with his tongue, and had a power of strong expression at command, he excelled himself so remarkably this night that one maiden lady, who had got out of bed like the rest to hear the serenade, was obliged to shut her window at the second clause. Even what she had heard disquieted her conscience, and next day she said she scarcely reckoned as a maiden lady any longer. Léon tried to explain his predicament, but he received nothing but threats of arrest by way of answer.
"If I come down to you," cried the commissary.
"Aye," said Léon, "do."
"I will not," cried the commissary.
"You dare not," answered Léon. At that the commissary closed his window. "All is over," said the singer. "The serenade was perhaps ill-judged. These boors have no sense of humour."
"Let us get away from here," said Elvira with a shiver. "All these people looking, it is so rude and so brutal."
And then, giving way once more to passion, "Brutes!" she cried aloud to the candlelit spectators. "Brutes! Brutes! Brutes!" "Sauve qui peut," said Léon. "You have done it now." and taking the guitar in one hand and the case in the other, he led the way with something too precipitate to be merely called precipitation from the scene of this absurd adventure. End of Section 22. Read by Don W. Jenkins, Rancho San Diego, California. shaggybark.blogspot.com